Hello, are we live? Can you see me on there? Hey everybody. We're gonna get ready in a second. Hold on, I'm waiting for people to just join in. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I'm excited. This is cool. You all like my shirt? Does it say people? I'm trying to see, I can't see who's actually here. I see people. I see the number. My number is going up and up and up, but I can't see the actual people unless some brave soul is willing to go ahead and type your name in the chat so that I can see who's here. Hello. How are you? Thank you. Is that my Auntie Christy? Let me tell you something. I know I'm not going to be alone today on this live stream because I know that my Auntie Christy sent the invitation to everybody in Birmingham. I know that for a fact. So it's going to be successful. Hey, Malika. How are you? This is awesome. I'm so excited. So thank you, T. Christy. Get yourself a T. Christy. Somebody's going to send people to your live stream so you won't be by yourself. Hey, everybody. Hey, Yvette. I can get you all shirts. I'm gonna actually talk about the shirt in a minute too, the Jim Crow. So I'm just giving a couple people some time. I'm gonna turn down my glow up music. Hello, hello. She says she did send it to everybody in Birmingham. I know she did. Thank you so much for coming though. Thank you. How many people we got, Keith? Nice. Nice. Welcome everybody. Civics for the soul. That's what we're doing today. Nice. My EP is over here. He's killing it. I love it. Hey everybody. I see some more people. Hi. Thank you for joining me. We'll get ready in a second. We're gonna listen to Fantasia a little bit first. I like this song. It's old, but it's nice. It's called I'm Doing Me, which is what I'm doing in 2022. I hope you are too. How many we got? Nice. Thank you all for coming. Okay, I'm gonna turn this down. This is nice. So while people are still sort of joining in, I want to just thank you all for showing up for me today. It's I know I've been sort of incognito for a couple months. That's very good reason, but I'm here in 2022, healthy, feeling good, feeling positive. So thank you so much for joining me on this new little adventure of mine. This is Civics for the Soul. So under normal circumstances, I would have like a group of people, just a couple of friends sitting at my bar, and I would make brunch food and we'd have mimosas and we talk about civics and community and all the things that I love to talk about, the intellectual stimulating conversation with a few laughs tied in. And I was thinking that we could invite all of you into our conversation because we have wonderful conversations. It's a great time. Unfortunately, today it's Snowmageddon in Atlanta. It's snowing here, and it's been snowing for the past couple of hours, so that's why you don't see some of my friends here. My hubby is here, my EP, but you don't have any friends, but I know that you're there with me in spirit and on the web, so that's gonna work. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be just fine. So let me give you an idea of what I'm thinking with this Civics for the Soul. I want us to have an opportunity to sort of think about our citizenship and have these sort of weekly conversations where we think about it, we examine it, we figure out ways that we can demand it. Now, I'm very well aware that there are some of you out there who want us to just abandon the whole concept and just keep it moving, stop demanding it, find someplace else to go. I get that. I do. I get it. But as of now, while we're here, our families are here, children, we have to think about ways that we are going to inform our citizenship and how we're going to demand it. And so that's why I was thinking, Civics for the Soul, we can have these conversations every week. And you all can tell me some of the things that you all want to talk about. I'll share some thoughts that I have on most things. Today, we're going to talk about the John Lewis Act. It's a new name for it now. It's the Freedom to Vote John R. Lewis Act because they combined the bills. So we're just going to talk about that a little bit. Let me give you a little bit of background on me. So in my former life, I was a lawyer, and I used to do a lot of community service on the side. I did a lot of voter registration, a lot of voter education. I was a facilitator. I organized. I did a lot of different things. Here's what I learned. These are the things that we sort of do well. We do really well when we register the voters, we do souls to the polls, we get the people to the voting booth, we organize them, we tell them how to use absentee voting, all that. We do a great job with that. And as a matter of fact, here in Georgia, I think that we've probably been some of the best in the country in terms of organizing people, getting people to register to vote. But that's voting. Where we sort of fall short is in helping people to understand why it matters to them, why it should matter to them, how it connects to their citizenship. So if you think about it in large terms, you have voting over here. That's how we express citizenship. That's how we manifest it. And then you have civics, which is my thing, Civics is how we inform it, why it's so important to us. I'm going to borrow from my mentor, Janice Mathis, and I do this all the time. I credit her, and she hasn't told me to stop. But I borrow from her because she's always right about stuff. And so this is something that she said on Twitter not too long ago. So I'm going to read it. It says, U.S. history is all about the question of who is a citizen. Declaration of Independence, Missouri Compromise, 13th Amendment, Tilden Hayes, Plessy versus Ferguson, Brown v. Board, Montgomery, Selma, Voting Rights Act, Shelby v. Holder, John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. Let's finally answer the question, all of us. And so that really struck me because really and truly, that's what this whole conversation in this country is about. Who's a citizen? Who's not? Who gets to determine and decide who's a citizen? Who's not? We're still fighting this particular battle. It's all about who's a citizen and who gets a say in determining it. And I hope that with this work that we're all going to be doing, that we get to make that choice, that decision, and that it's definitive going forward about who's a citizen. So let's talk. What are we going to talk about? So MLK Day is tomorrow, and I thought it would be good because I know there's going to be so many people misconstruing what Dr. King said and misconstruing what John Lewis was about. I thought it'd be good to sort of talk about this act. The only thing we're going to do today, I'm going to tell you what's in it. For those of you who haven't had the time to read the 735 pages, I read it for you, so you don't have to. That's part of my job, part of my role, to read it so that you don't have to, give you the highlights. So I'm going to tell you what's in it. And then I'm going to tell you where we stand with it. And then we're all going to log off, and y'all are going to email me and text me and let me know how it went today. So, all right, the act itself. It's now the Freedom to Vote John R. Lewis Act. It is 735 pages. This is for Raquel out there. It can be found at democracydocket.com. That's my girl. She's going to go and do the deep dive that some of us aren't willing to do. So democracydocket.com if you ever want to pull it up and read it for yourself. But here's the thing about this one. And I really, when I read it, I actually appreciated all the care that they actually put into it, because what it does is sort of summarizes the fight for voting rights over the past 10 years. A lot of the rules, the regulations in there are very specific to cases that you've seen in Georgia, in Arizona, in Ohio, and elsewhere. So I thought that they did a wonderful job about it. They outlined what we call the new Jim Crow. I think Stacey Abrams and all of her community, they call it Jim Crow 2.0. And so that's what this is. This is the modern day practices. And I was watching, who were we watching? Was it Jonathan K. Park? It was on GPB. I think it was, yeah, I think it's a show on. And one of the guys on the other side, he says, well, you know, the rhetoric about Jim Crow, you know, I just don't like it. And, you know, it's really not going to help things. It's not going to help people to want to protect the Constitution, basically. And so a lot of people don't like that term, Jim Crow 2.0 or the new Jim Crow. They don't like it. It makes them feel bad. My position on that, I don't care. Let me tell you why I don't care about it. If you have not had to suffer at the foot of Jim Crow, then you should probably be quiet. So here's where this t-shirt comes into it. Right before they went and gunned down Medgar Evers in Mississippi, the gunman was parked across the street in a vacant lot and waiting on him so that they could kill him. As Medgar Evers was going into his house, he was carrying a box of NAACP t-shirts. And those shirts said, Jim Crow must go. So this is why I wear this shirt. Hopefully you can see it. I wear this shirt to ground me in the work, to help me to remember that this is what this is still about. The entire crux of this American experiment is about citizenship. Who has it? Who doesn't have it? So Jim Crow must go. Y'all email me later if you want a t-shirt. I'll get one to you. So, okay, let's get to the act. The act is in 4 parts. So they talk about voter access, election integrity, civic participation and empowerment, and then Alexa. Really, Alexa? That's what we're doing right now? Okay. Civic participation and empowerment and voting rights. So those are the 4 areas that they sort of go in. I'm just going to give you some highlights on it. Let's see. Even though it's playing Earth, Wind, and Fire. Okay, this is for you, Angelique. When we talk about voter access, they're going to do automatic voter registration across the board. That's what this law, this is what they want to do with it. And so in the state of Georgia, we do have automatic voter registration. You go through the Department of Driver Services. But I think last year they tried to get rid of it. We don't know if they're going to come back trying to get rid of it. Don't know. But across the board, going to have automatic voter registration. Then they want to make Election Day a legal public holiday, which I think is great. Then we're going to have, let's see, internet registration, which I thought was great because this is the 21st century. You know, I've worked with groups. We're still over in front of Kroger and at 5 Points, and we're trying to register voters, and then you got the Georgia Secretary of State, you know, making accusations about people not being properly registered, and I'm so thankful that I can speak and critique the state of Georgia. You have no idea how that makes me feel inside to have this muzzle law. Anyway, going on. But I think it's important that we sort of move with the times and we start registering people online, give them an opportunity to do that. I think this is a great part of this act. I think it's something we should really be trying to mobilize behind. The other thing that's going to do, same-day registration, 15-day early voting, let's see, absentee ballot, I'm reading it. And then they got drop boxes. They're going to make them available. Now, if you all weren't aware, you know, There's a measure here in Georgia, and I think this was happening in Texas too, out in Houston, where they were making it very difficult, limiting the number of drop boxes that you can use. There's a county, I think it's Lincoln County, Sharita, I think that's north of Augusta. In Lincoln County, what they're doing is they closed down all but one polling precinct. Now here's the thing. Lincoln County, I think, is predominantly white. I think this is a testing ground, because what you can do is, if you say, well, we're doing it for some independent reason over in this county, then it makes it easier for you to make the argument that, okay, we're going to come and do it in Fulton County, in DeKalb County, in Cobb County, and Gwinnett County. And so we all know that a third of Black Georgians are in those 4 counties, pretty much. That's how it is. So it's something to be mindful of. But I think with this act, it's trying to do its best to make voting more accessible. Okay, point 2, election integrity. Basically, it's telling everybody that you cannot destroy the machines. Don't destroy the machines. You can't take away the ballot boxes. You can't take out the paper ballots. Don't do that. And it also talks about, undue burdens on voting. Now, this is for all of my lawyer friends out there. So this was sort of in response to Justice Alito's opinion in the Brnovich DNC case in Arizona. And that was the case where Justice Alito says basically, for the indigenous and Black people, you have what we call your usual burdens. And so you should just accept that you're going to have your usual burdens of voting and just deal with it, and that there's nothing that can be done. And he admits this in the opinion and says that as long as you have this equal opportunity, as long as we don't say you can't come vote at all, you have an equal opportunity to vote. Doesn't matter if you have these undue burdens. But this election integrity portion sort of deals with that. So I like that. Part 3, civic participation and empowerment. That just basically, they're just talking about how the states are going to be funded by the federal government to promote more democratic process. Great. 4, voting rights. Now this particular section amends the Voting Rights Act specifically. And again, this is in response to Justice Alito, who basically shanked the kidney of the Voting Rights Act. And I know that yes, I did say shank the kidney of the Voting Rights Act, because that's what he did. You know, he took the kidney would be Section 5 and Section 2, and he went and they construed it in a way that sort of destroyed the whole thing, which is why we sort of need this act. It also has a great section on Native Americans, because what they're accusing Native Americans in Arizona of doing is ballot harvesting and saying that that's illegal. Now, here's the thing. For those who are on the reservation, you know, they don't have like regular mail distribution. And so they were depending on one another to come in, collect the ballot for your neighbor, you collect it, and then I'll take everybody's stuff down and I'll get it done. Sounds like a mutual aid project to me, but they took issue with that. They're saying, well, you should be able to mail. Well, you know, they live miles and miles and miles away from polling precincts and places where you can mail it. So this particular act is trying to address that. And I really appreciate it. Like I said, I thought it, you know, really covered all the bases. And I think that this is something that we need to make sure that we're advocating for. No matter what happens in the next couple of days with this, we need to make sure that we're advocating for more 21st century protections. Because one of the main ways that the Supreme Court is getting away with these decisions that gut the Voting Rights Act is because they're using a 1965 analysis and saying the 21st century techniques don't really apply, they don't mix. So that's how they're getting away with it. So we need a new law, basically. And I think it's time that we have it. So where are we now? I told you I wasn't going to keep you long. not going to keep you long because I don't have long to give and you don't have long to stay unless you're in Atlanta and you're not going anywhere because Kroger's closed. But where are we? So this act passed the House on Wednesday. I think it was by 220 to 203. And it was along party lines. Now, let me say this. I remember when John Lewis passed away. And everybody and their mama got up there and they said, oh, we love John Lewis. He was the greatest congressman ever. He was the best to ever do it. No one's ever going to be able to replace him. He's my hero. In particular, Senator Kirsten Sinema out of Arizona, there's a picture circulating somewhere around. Hey, cousin. There's a picture circulating and it's of her and John Lewis. And she's like, oh, my hero. The lies you tell. The lies you tell. Let me tell you something. If they had an Ida B. Wells anything act, okay, I would be the first person. I'm trying to get it passed. I'm up in the Capitol with the insurrectionists trying to get it done. I'm doing everything to get this done. So if this person is your hero, then what's the problem? Shouldn't you be advocating for it? What's this whole thing about the filibuster? Now, I know we there's a lot of talk about the filibuster. What we're going to do. For those of y'all who don't know, all the filibuster is a delay tactic. That's all it is. It's a sabotage the thing. Back in the day, we used to have what I think they're called the talking filibuster. And what comes to mind is Strom Thurmond, one of the best to ever do it. So Strom Thurmond gets in there and he's opposing I think it's the 1957 Civil Rights Act. And he goes in for about 24, 25 hours talking. I mean, he's committed to the cause. He's delaying it to keep it from coming to a vote. It eventually passes, but still, that's what the filibuster is. Another person, Richard Brevard Russell Jr. Those of you in Atlanta, y'all know Richard Russell Building. This is the federal building where you drive up Ted Turner Drive. You see it right there, the big white building. And then you see the big Atlanta. So I always think it's odd to have this building and then this welcome to Atlanta sort of thing. Think about Richard Russell. He was opposing, I think, the 64 Civil Rights Act. And I mean, I think at the time you could just file some papers or something to try to delay it. That was the filibuster. You could file something, but it lasted for about 60 days, 60 business days. He and Strom Thurmond go on to write this Southern Manifesto. And, you know, it's I don't know if Dr. Dukes is out there, you know, they're not writing about freedom like you are, Melanie, but what they are writing about, I'll summarize in about 10 words. Y'all ready? Integration, never ever, never not ever, never, never, never ever. That's the summary of what the Southern Manifesto is. So this is what they are using the filibuster for, is to deny people voting rights. So I think it's interesting now that you have two senators, Manchin and Sinema, who've decided that, oh, well, we don't want to take away the filibuster because then somewhere down the line, Republicans could use it against Democrats. We don't even know if we're going to have a democracy in a couple of years. So this whole somewhere down the line, I don't even know where they're getting this from. You know, we were all there and we were watching. All of us were sitting back watching January 6th, what was going on. That was just a dry run. We don't know if we're going to have a democracy. You have to preserve democracy now. So I don't know what's going to happen with this act. It passed the House. It's going to the Senate. Senator Schumer out of New York says they're going to bring it to a vote. I think what has to happen, and somebody out there correct me, I think in the Senate you can declare that you don't want to use the rule, basically. And I think you need a simple majority. The simple majority is the 50 plus comma. That's what you need in order for it to go through. Problem is, Manchin in cinema. They can't get the simple majority. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to pass. I know that the organizers who are out on the street, they're doing their absolute best. They're in Arizona now. They're doing their absolute best, but there's only so much. If people lack the will, it may or may not happen. But this is what I wanted to share before I sort of close it up a little bit. As we think about demanding this citizenship, I don't want it lost on us that, all of tomorrow, they're going to be misconstruing Dr. King. Everybody's going to be talking about how they loved him, how he was great, great American. They're going to ignore the clip that Bernice King put out of Dr. King being critical of the filibuster and telling you why they do it. They're going to ignore that. They're going to talk about John Lewis, and then they're going to turn around on Tuesday. This is what I suspect. I'm happy to be wrong. They're going to turn back on Tuesday and let it fall through. And they're going to leave it to us to continue to fight by ourselves. And again, I understand some of us, we're like, you know what, we can let this experiment go. But it's going to be important for us to decide whether we really want this. Because at the end of the day, people are going to continue to do what they always do. And we do what we always do. And so I feel a way about it. But as we go through the weekend, I hope that we can sort of think about that a little bit more. Next week, when we come back here, I hope that you'll join me again. We'll talk about some more stuff, whatever you all want to talk about. Please send me an email, betweenthevote@gmail.com. You can send me an email or you can text me for those of you who have my number. Tell me what it is that you'd like to see, what it is that you'd like to talk about. If there's something you want me to research for you, I'm happy to do it. I got a little bit of time on my hands, but that's all I wanted to share with you. My daughter wants me to make sure I tell you all as we close that if you enjoyed the content, please hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. And so that's KKP Presents. You can also follow me on Instagram. And if you know of anybody who's looking to expand their civic education offerings, whether it's a sorority, Jack and Jill, civic group, whoever it is, just let me know. Reach out to me. I'd love to partner with them. But in the meantime, I thank you all so much. I'm at 30 minutes, I think. I did it. I'm so happy to do this. I'm looking forward to seeing you all weekly, you all joining us, inviting other friends to join us in this conversation. Thank you so much for coming and showing up. I'm so grateful. Peace and love to everybody. Thank you. Bye.